There is a lot to talk about today in the game of baseball. The current rumors are saying that the Yankees have an offer to Aaron Judge for 8 years, $300 million, which is very significant because it's more than Mike Trout, at least on a year-by-year basis, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. A big-time trade happened between Willson Contreras and Jose Urquidy of the Astros, but it didn't go through. We'll go ahead and break that down. Now, before we get into all of that, I want to show this tweet from the Phillies. They said, do you ever just think about, and they posted pictures of them and their World Series run. So there's Ranger Suarez with the final out, and there's Bryson Stott holding the NL Champs flag. Well, you know who caught wind of this tweet? The Astros. So the Phillies said, do you ever just think about, and then the Astros say, yes, all the time, because they beat the Phillies in the World Series, and I'm not going to lie, this was just mean. Also, one more small thing I want to talk about. Miguel Cabrera, I can't believe this title is a real thing. He said, I think it's time to say goodbye to baseball, hoping for a healthy 2023 season because it's probably his final season in baseball. I know Tigers fans are going to really miss Miggy, but if we take a look at how much money he's been making the last few years, $30 million, $32 million in 2022. He was an all-star because Robert Manfred selected him, but he had an 83 OPS plus, a 305 batting average. He grounded into 11 double plays. I mean, the guy was basically not useless per se, but useless. But for his career, he is a 2-time MVP. He won a Triple Crown. He's a 12-time All-Star. He has a 142 career OPS plus, and I was doing some Miggy research yesterday from 2005 to 2000 and let's say 16. Miguel Cabrera had a 405 on base percentage and a 326 batting average to go along with the 159 OPS plus over the course of 10 plus years. This guy is one of the greatest right-handed hitters in the history of baseball, and I'm going to miss him because not only was he a fun player to watch, but also he was funny as a human. So again, guys, we're going to go ahead and talk about Aaron Judge and his current offer from the Yankees, but before we do that, you see this dude, Willson Contreras, one of the top free agents going into 2023, and then this player right here, Jose Urquidy of the Astros. They were actually traded for each other a year ago. I had no idea. And when I say a year ago, I simply mean in the 2022 MLB season, so we can see that Urquidy, he was traded in a 1-for-1 swap for Willson Contreras. So Urquidy, he would have gone to Chicago and Willson would have gone to the Astros. And honestly, if that would have happened instead of Christian Vasquez, the Astros, they still would have won the World Series, but they might have been even more dominant because Vasquez, if we take a look at what he did with the Astros, he had a 68 OPS plus and he had 4 extra base hits in 35 games. He was stinky. Christian Vasquez, he is a free agent going into 2023. Willson Contreras, if we take a look, he is also a free agent. So now that we understand that the Astros are in play for Willson Contreras simply because they tried to acquire him last year, the reports right now are that Justin Verlander is most likely leaving the Astros, whether it's the Yankees, the Mets, or the Dodgers. Houston is going to have so much freed up salary because they might not re-sign Michael Brantley. They're going to have Hunter Brown and Jose Urquidy in that rotation, so that's going to kind of soften the blow of losing a Cy Young player like Justin Verlander. So if they can get Willson to play left field, infield, catcher, DH, he can play wherever. I mean, the Astros are quite literally trying to assemble the Avengers in Major League Baseball. If this actually happens, you're telling me the Astros could have a lineup of Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, who just won the ALCS and World Series MVP, Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker. Without the shift, he is going to be Babe Ruth, Jose Abreu, and then after Jose Abreu, you would have guys like Willson Contreras, Chas McCormick, who was pretty good in the postseason. Guys like Jake Myers and other players around them. I mean, the Astros, if this actually happens, even if Justin Verlander leaves, they're my favorites to win the 2023 World Series because they're just so good and they believe in themselves more than any other team because they have that chip on their shoulder, whether you want to believe it or not, from the 2017 debacle and how it was handled. Yeah, they just want to prove everyone wrong. One more thing I do want to bring up, the fact that they brought up James Click in this article. So James Click, he was the former general manager. He actually left the team, or he was fired. Like, some people say he was fired, but other people say that he left the team because he couldn't get the money that he wanted. Well, it seems like the Astros are trying to shove it in James Click's face and say, hey, see, we don't need you. We can get Jose Abreu without you. We can land Willson Contreras. I fully expect Willson to be on the Astros or the Cardinals. In my opinion, the Cardinals are the #1 fit in Major League Baseball to land the services of Willson Contreras, but no matter how you slice it, the Astros, they're going to be back in the playoffs, and they're going to be making some noise for the next few years. Also, real quick, I just want to see why the Astros did not want to give up Jose Urquidy. I do not want an EV Chevy, I'm sorry. So in 342 big league innings, Jose Urquidy has a 3.74 ERA, which is pretty good, a 4.35 FIP, which is not good, The reason why his FIP is so low, FIP is just fielding independent of pitching. If you took all of the infielders and outfielders off the field, how good is a pitcher at striking people out, limiting walks, and limiting home runs? He's below average in that department because he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. His walks were up just a season ago. Jose Urquidy, he's probably going to be a 5-starter behind Hunter Brown. You have Lance McCullers, Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, and someone else I'm missing. But yeah, the Astros, whether they get Willson, Contreras or not, whether they lose Justin Verlander, they are going to be just fine. The only thing that won't be just fine is Major League Baseball if this lineup includes Willson, Contreras in 2023. I will not be okay. No one's going to beat them. All right, let's go ahead and give an update on Aaron Judge and his offseason sweepstakes. So the reports are right now, according to Jeff Passan, the Yankees have an offer on the table for 8 years, $300 million. If we do the math, 300 divided by 8, 37 and a half. And then I did the math real quick on Mike Trout's contract. If you don't remember, he got 12 years, $426.5 million. That averages $35.5 million a season. So Aaron Judge, he would be the record holder, the richest baseball player ever on a season-to-season basis. Like how much he's getting paid per season. We know it as AAV, average annual value. That is a lot of money for a guy, and I want to say, and make sure I clarify this, I absolutely love Aaron Judge. He is a perfect role model both on and off the field. He's kind of been not very good in the playoffs, so almost $40 million a season for one single guy who hasn't been clutch is... I mean, does that make you comfortable or not as a Yankees fan? I mean, real quick, I just want to see who actually has guaranteed dollars going to 2023. So Garrett Cole has $36 million, Giancarlo Stanton $32, Donaldson $21, Anthony Rizzo $17. Does anyone else feel like a poor baseball fan looking at these numbers? Like if you're a Rays fan or a Guardians fan or a Pirates fan, these numbers probably make you want to throw up. So that is the latest update. I don't know if the Giants are going to be in the running, if they want to give him $305 million for 8 years, or maybe they go $330 for 9 years. Maybe that gives Aaron a little bit more comfort. Although the AAV would not be a record breaker if it went 9 years, $330. So 8 years, $300 million for a guy that's about 30 years old. I feel like that's fair for what he did just a season ago. He bet on himself and he won. Now I'm going to go ahead and get these last two transactions out the way really fast because a lot of you won't care about them. But Shelby Miller, he was an all-star back in 2015 with the Diamondbacks. I mean, he had a 3.02 ERA in 33 starts. He was really, really good. And then over the last few seasons, he has been horrific. But in 2022 with the Giants, we can see that he had 14 strikeouts in 7 innings. He had an 18 strikeouts per 9. So the fact that he is going to the Dodgers on a 1-year deal, it's a major league deal, so he's probably going to get some playing time. What are the Dodgers most known for? Fixing projects. Andrew Heaney has a 4.56 career ERA with the Dodgers in 2022. Yeah, that was a 3.1. Can I interest you in that? Same situation with Tyler Anderson, but even more exaggerated. He had a 4.16 ERA for his career, and that was in large part because he had a 4.5 WAR and a 2.57 ERA just a season ago. Also, one more player I have to talk about in regards to the Dodgers fixing him. You have Yency Almonte. He had a 1.02 ERA in 35 innings with 33 strikeouts. I mean, if we take a look at what he did before, he had a 7.5 ERA with the Rockies in 2021, a 5.5 with the Rockies in 2019. I mean, a 1.02 in 35 innings, that's what the Dodgers do. They fix guys that could be washed up to all of Major League Baseball. And then before we end the video, it just kind of blows my mind that this guy right here, a record breaker in his own right, Aristides Aquino, I believe he has the Major League record for most home runs hit in his first 20 games or something crazy like that. It was 14. I don't know the exact stats, but he is going to Japan and he's getting a 1-year, $1.2 million deal. And if you guys did not know, Aristides Aquino, there's a stat called DRS, defensive run saves. He had 20 DRS in 2022, even though he only played a handful of games. I don't know why he's not going to get a contract from another MLB team. Also, I just read the stat right here. He had 14 home runs in 29 games back in August of 2019, so that's the Major League record. He also had a 320 batting average. Like, this guy was on top of the world. And then to end today's recap, this guy right here, O'Neal Cruz, the tallest shortstop in history. He is raking in the Dominican Winter League. I don't even know how this ball left. His swing is so effortless.
O'Neal Cruz. Patazo de O'Neal elevado que está buscando atrás el patrullero derecho. Sigue atrás, se metió en la pista. Ante seguridad.